Hello again, it's Lock Noob, and in front of us is a lock that isn't mine but I really want. This is lent to me by Southampton Lockpicking Club. They are such an active part of the lockpicking community. It's unbelievable. They've supported my channel for so long, and I really am grateful. And I think it's the first time they've lent me a lock, and they knew that I love federal locks, so it's a bit of a tease really, but what a fantastic lock to have. It looks like a standard Federal 730, which I actually have a standard 730, but just look here, you can see that this is a special one. It's an Australia-New Zealand series AU730, and that is so cool. I'm not seeing that variant. I'm not entirely sure what is different about it. Maybe it's because it comes with the ABS style core, so this is essentially an ABS lock. ABS lock inside. It has 4 pin-in-pin pins and 1 pin which is steel and needs to be drawn to the magnet, which is in position 3 on this key, to clear the shear line. If you want to know more about how this lock works, then please do go and check out the video in the description. I'll put a link there, and also probably a card which has a little I button up there that you can click on, where I actually have a cutaway ABS lock, and you can see how this magnetic pin works, sort of as it works, which is really cool. Right. So yeah, I absolutely love this lock. It's really awesome. And just to show you how close the insides are to an ABS, well, here is an ABS key, and it actually fits inside. It doesn't have this little tailpiece on, but other than that, it actually fits inside. The magnet's at a different position. Other than that, you can see that we have 5 pins, 4 pin-in-pin pins. And yeah, you can tell that there is a pedigree going on there between the two, because they essentially are the same lock. Okay, right, on to picking it. I'm going to actually submit this video to Lockpickers United, who are on YouTube, and they put a competition out with some fabulous prizes. Again, I will put a link in the description, and the competition is to win all sorts of things: some awesome pinning trays, some Chicago, Illinois Joe locks, and the top prize is actually a silver bullet, which is really cool. So yeah, they wanted I think it's a purple belt if you look on the Reddit, lockpicking Reddit, which is, again, a really cool resource for the lockpicking community. I fully support it, even though I don't tend to post there myself. And yeah, so they wanted a purple belt lock or above, and the ABS is a brown belt. Now, this doesn't have the trap pins that a standard ABS lock has, because it's not a residential lock, it's a padlock. But the mechanism of actually picking it is absolutely identical, and in all other ways it's an Avocet ABS in a padlock form. So yeah, I hope it goes in as a submission. Alright, enough of me waffling. Let's actually pick this thing. Let's get some magnets inside it. Let's pick those pin-in-pins. Let's have a go at gutting it. Bearing in mind, of course, it's not my lock, so let's be super careful doing that. And I'll see you just in a second. Okay, so we're in the vise. There's a lot of different ways in which this pick could go wrong. So let's see. The first and probably the hardest thing to do is to get the magnet in the right place. And this is made a lot trickier than it probably needs to be because of this spinner at the front of the lock, and that is very magnetic. But I'm going to just see whether I can push that in and keep it in the right place. I think we might have got it. It is getting this in position is surprisingly tricky, but I have a feeling that we might just have made it. Okay, that'll do. Right, I'm going to make an assumption that it's actually in now in the right position. If you look at the key, that is me trying to get the magnet on top of position 3. It's yeah, a little tough to get in, so just going to use it's just a standard Chinese Z wrench, a Z bar, and we're going to put reasonably light tension on. Going to try and reach over the lock so that you can actually see what I'm trying to do, and use this flat flag. It's quite a broad flat flag, I like it for this lock. Let's see what we can pick. So pin 2, click, pin 1, tiny click, pin 4, pin 5 definitely binding, go back through, pin 1, 2, nothing on 3 of course, 4, another little click, pin 5, trying to get on top of pin 5, doesn't seem to want to play ball. Here we are. Ah, got it. A nice click and a almost like a false set. So it could be we're hanging up on some of these little inner pins. I'm just going to try and tap the tops of each pin in turn now. So that's 5, 4. And this is where trying to get those inner pins set isn't the easiest thing. Little click on pin 4 there. Just going along the tops of the pins. Here we go. And yeah, I think we've got an open. Oh no, 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 no. Just went to an even deeper full set. Right. I actually have a curved flag now, which is this one. And this is designed to just reach over and tap the tops of the inner pins, just in case that they need to be set a little bit lower than the tops of the outer pins, so you need to sort of poke them down a bit. You feel that's pin 2, pin 3 nothing of course. Trying to get on top of pin 4 now. Pin 4, good. Pin 5, yeah, it all seems to be set, so I'm going to go back with the flat flag and just, it's probably just something that is hung up inside the lock. This is where there isn't so much finesse as opposed to just poking around inside. And you know what? There's nothing necessarily wrong with that. It's all part of just remaining calm and not panicking. Making sure we're tapping the tops of every pin. This lock does like to hang up on the last pins, so like I said, there's no panic to it. It's just there we go. Just tap pin 4 and just wait into an open, and I'm going to move this forwards a bit so you can see it open. There we go. Nice. So, right, now for a gutting. There is so much that could possibly go wrong with the gutting of this lock, but I will try to keep it all in camera shot. I don't want to be accused of anything. And actually, see if I can get the... I'm just going to get the shackle off, then lock it back up and try and get the magnet out. So, this is interesting. It's actually got a little spring here, which if you depress releases the shackle. Took me a while to realise that, because I actually thought that this had somehow been sort of ground off or made so you can't actually access it. Okay, now I've done that, I'll just lock this back up, which it's all locked back up now, and try to extract the magnet using a hook. which is easier said than done, but it's actually it so wants to be attracted to the spinner at the front that it actually helps you. If you can sort of get it past the pin it's trapped on, there we go, it sort of automatically gets attracted to it. So come on, little magnet, there you go, that's what it looks like. There, I'll just put that away with my other magnets and keep it out of the way for now. Let's get in here. For once I won't speed up the gutting of this because I think it's quite interesting to see the gutting of this lock. Well, I think it's interesting, and you know, if you're still watching, I suppose you do too, so you know, we're all friends here, aren't we? I can't remove the shackle spring on this very easily, and it's worth noting that inside here there is actually a ball bearing, like another anti-drill feature on the inside of this protective hardened steel cap that's a little ball bearing, so I don't want that to spill out. And then it's quite useful having a pokey stick for the next bit because it's actually all sprung and you can actually get caught up on like that. So just poke it down, there we go. So you've got the hardened steel spinner and cover. What I really like about these federal locks is that they have this dovetail on here, which means that it's a lot harder to use some kind of dent puller to pull that out. I think it's a really good feature. I'm going to grab that key and just slide the core out. I'm going to keep it all this way up so the actuator and ball bearings don't fall out. In fact, I'm going to just move that over here out of the way. Okay. Now, you can turn this all the way around so that these driver pins actually can pop out of these holes here. Really want to avoid that. And Southampton Lock Picking Club, who kindly lent me this lock, probably screaming at me not to mess up their beautiful lock. Although at the moment, I'm struggling to get in. Okay, screwdriver. Come on, I've got to have something which opens it. I can't fall at this hurdle. Can't get to this point and not be able to open this up. That's too big. That's not working. It's always going to happen on camera, isn't it? Let's try this one. What I want to do is not strip the threads on a lock that I don't actually own. Damn. And I might just do that if I'm not careful. So it looks like I might have to abandon the gutting. Right, okay. Well, if I can't, I can partially gut it. Just what I don't want to do is end up, because this isn't my lock. Yeah, that's not going to work. So what I can do is instead, I can turn it all the way around. There we go. Like this. And these pins won't be under spring tension anymore. It's got to be incredibly careful how we do this. And at the very least, I can show you the... there you go. These dual pins here. This is a magnetic one. If that will come out, it probably won't. Can I get that magnetic element out? Yes, I can, with an even more powerful magnet. So there we go. Right, so what I'm not going to do is I'm not going to turn this back round now because it'll absolutely destroy the lock. So I'm going to put that in a very safe place over here. I hope this still counts as a gutting. I hope you can definitely see why I'm not wanting to damage this lock at all. go. Make sure that spring's there. Fantastic. Okay. Ooh. So there we go. That is a pick and gut of this wonderful Federal padlock, pin in pin, basically the same as the ABS, the Avocet ABS, a brown belt lock. I actually don't think these are particularly challenging picks if they don't have trap pins. A full 360 is definitely more than a brown belt pick, I'd say. And you can see that these driver pins, these key pins, sorry, are all standard. The driver pins, they felt like they were probably standard pins as well, although there could be spools in there which just didn't necessarily fire. So there we go. Okay, just typical, isn't it? I managed to get those horrible screws out without stripping the threads. They were, would you believe, Loctited in, which probably explains why they were so tough to get out. I just needed to move it a little closer to my to body to get some torque on it without stripping the screw heads and or camming out. So I've got a nice shim on here. Might as well actually just see what's inside, making sure that I'm not going to lose anything from the inside. Always, 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 did I say always? Always shim these locks. At the bottom of this one, I noticed there is actually a big anti-drill sort of thing that goes in there, just a bit of hardened steel. Because we've seen these key pins, I'm just going to pop that in a shoe out of the way over here. Don't want to disturb those any more than I need to. We've all had a look at those already. And then gently, very gently, let's have a look at these driver pins together. Moving that shim out of the way. And they will have, there we go, an internal and an external spring. So they are not easy to disassemble at all. I'll try my best to do that. So you can see, we'll have a look at the different pins one by one. Oh, it's going to be a nightmare getting back together. I might actually drop them in through the top if it's easier. This is the third driver pin, which is actually just more of a sort of receptacle. It doesn't actually do anything. Oh, there we go. Outer, inner. So cute, they're on their own little separate springs. I love that. It does mean if you mess up the gutting of one of these, then you are, well, yeah, you're screwed, aren't you? There you go. Because you're not going to be replacing those springs anytime soon. Cool. There we go. All right. Now let's look at the driver pins. We've seen the key pins are all standards. The drivers appear to be all standard by the looks of things. You could argue that there is some light spooling, but whether that would actually activate, I don't know. But I think that's supposed to be spool, spool, standard spool, spool. Well, spool, spool doesn't actually do anything because it's just a receptacle for the magnetic pin. Nothing. And then the inside pins. Yeah, just little pins. That's it. They look like T-pins, but they're not. They're designed so that they don't come out of the outer pins. There's actually like a ledge on the inside so that they can only go in so far, like lots of dimple locks in that regard. So there you go. Sorry about the two-part gutting, but when you lent a lock, you really don't want to destroy it. All right, well, wish me luck getting this back together, and I'll see you all next time.